Hi, Lynn.
Everyone. So I'm sitting here today with my friend, my colleague, my web developer, my design strategist, my go-to, Rose, who's wearing Rose. So I think that that's appropriate.
That's very funny.
Rose. And we're here for this week's segment of LDtvTalk. So Patty is going to tell, of course, her interesting story. Everybody I bring on, it's important to really hear the story and the journey and the motivation and the lessons. But I want to read her bio, as I always do. So Patty is an educator, an entrepreneur, and an author. She's a digital strategist, as I mentioned. She's a website developer. And if anybody wants to check out her work, you can go to my website, sidehustlewarriors.com, and check out her creative work in action. So it's there, and it's a great website. We love it, Patty. Thank you.
Love it too.
Also an online business coach. So Pat, in her coaching and in her business, Patty works with creative entrepreneurs to execute a digital version of the business that they love. And as I said, you can take a look at Side Hustle Warriors. It's a passion of mine. It is my site to coach people through being a successful affiliate for multi-level marketing or their own digital business. So I coach them to do that and bring on some really cool people to help in that process and to show them great systems that we've put in place. So all that's on, check it out, sidehustlewarriors.com. So Patty is a creative entrepreneur herself, and she's turned her passions into her business, Patty Rose Enterprises. She's combined her expertise as a dance instructor to create a diverse set of tools, meaningful movement, Dance Strong. She's going to talk about that. And her online school, Create, Build, Share. And if you've been on our program before, we're about heart-based businesses that give back, whether it's giving back through charity or if it's just giving back in theory to make the world a better place and to have the people that are engaging in the process have something that they really are passionate about and they can share that passion with others. Create, Build, Share offers an entrepreneurial mindset along with a digital strategy and tech trainings for creators, entrepreneurs, and leaders, all to inspire creative entrepreneurial women to gain inner clarity, create online businesses, build a digital presence, and share their gifts to the world in a way that makes them feel proud. So, Patty, that's a very inspiring way to begin this program. So I'm going to turn it over to you, and I want you to start by telling us how a dancer channels that creative talent into web design and development.
Well, thank you so much for having me on your LDtvTalk show, Lynn. I'm so excited to be here. And I know as I'm listening to you introduce me, read my bio, I'm like, there's a lot. And, I think it's a very, I'm going to say woman thing because I know women so well, but it's a human thing too, that we forget all that we do over time to get where we are.
Yes.
So, I started in dance. I started as a dance and fitness professional. I fell in love with dance when I was 16. I took my first dance class when I was 16 because of a movie. I went to a movie and I saw a movie and I left the movie and I said to my sister, who's 6 years older than me, oh my gosh, I want to dance. I want to dance. She said, well, take a dance class. And that was the beginning of several decade career. And within 3 years from taking my first dance class, I was teaching.
Wow.
I was teaching more quickly than that, but I was teaching and earning a living within 3 years. It was just an immediate, it was one of those things. So, through the years, business changed. Anything I did in business was, making flyers and bringing them around town and doing things. And then the internet showed up and I was excited about it. I was excited to learn it. I was excited to utilize it for my company. And so, I was self-taught. I was figuring it out as I was going. And then, over time, that became me saying to my friends, oh, I know how to do that. I can help you. Why don't we create a page for you? Why don't we do this for you? I know how to get a blog. You could have a blog, So it just, it morphed into a second business eventually. And, it doesn't necessarily sound in words like these things have anything in common at all, but there's so much creativity that goes into what we do in the digital world to show up on a screen in a way that speaks to you and makes you feel proud. That's a very important piece of that whole thing. Sure. Is that it makes you feel proud because it's telling your story appropriately. You're aligned with what it is that you're putting out there, right? So
definitely,
there's a lot of creativity in that.
Yeah, it's your face. It has to speak for you.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's static. Now we have the beauty of videos that we can add videos, but before there was so much video integration into a website, that website was basically your brand, your face, without really kind of going into the dimension that a video brings. So what was your first, assignment in terms of how did you get from point A to point B?
Well, I started with a blog in 2004. I had a blog that was a platform that's still there called Typepad. Oh, I'm drawing a blank on the exact name. We'll have to type it in when I remember.
Yeah, we'll put it in Scoop. At the end of the episode, we always put all the links.
Oh, good.
On LDtvTalk Scoop for all our fans, so they can go there.
So we come to my blog that was all on Dance Meets Fitness. That was my brand for a while. And then I actually, my first website was done by a web developer. And the part of what happened was that at the time, things were different, right? So websites were static and he would take my changes once a month. And it just wasn't good enough for me because you know how life is. You get called for, can you teach a class tomorrow? You need people to know.
Right.
So the way I would let them know would put it on my class schedule on my website. And there was this disconnect because, well, class is tomorrow and he doesn't take my changes until next week or next month. So that was like somebody opened that little door and said, come on in, Pat, want to learn how? So I started figuring out how I could have more control. That was a big thing of having more control of what it was that I was able to do. And so the rest was, trial and error. Trial and error for a lot of years because I was doing it on my own. It was my own time, my own budget. I wasn't outsourcing for help at the time. I was just trying to figure out how to do it on my own. And I guess it's important to say that I've always had this thing for putting stuff together and making things work. And I was always the one in my family who would do the, we have to put a piece of furniture together, like That was
Oh my
me
God,
putting
no.
things out of the box, make sure I had all the pieces, screw it together. So I kind of feel this is similar. Like, there's a lot of moving pieces to the back of the clock, and you have to be able to maneuver them.
Yeah. So here it is. You've got this developer. He can't take changes. You decide you're going to learn it. How long then, from that point in time, did you decide, this might be a good business for me?
Oh, not for a very long time. Not for a very long time. For most of it, for a good part of it, it was all about utilizing it for my dance business. I decided in right around 2007, 2008 that I wanted a lifestyle change. Teaching dance classes I did for, almost 30 years was every Tuesday at 4 and every weekend and every night. And, it's just nights and
it's a lot.
And and I met my husband and we wanted to travel and have a little flexibility in that. So we set out to create a laptop lifestyle. And that's where I am. I guess that's like 12 years in now that I decided I would do this as a business. And, over that first couple of years, it was a little letting go of classes, letting go of responsibilities that I had that were weekly, and picking up more work that was remote so that I could spontaneously travel. And there's one thing that happened. I gave my husband a surprise birthday gift for a big birthday. This is back then, and I booked us a couple of weeks to France and Spain and Italy, and I said, "Oh my gosh, I hope it's okay. I booked this trip for you. I hope you can go." We were such newlyweds. And then he said, "Is it too?" The one thing I had left open was I didn't book our return flight, because I said, we can either go home from here or home from here, let you choose. And he said to me, well, why don't we make it 3 weeks? If we're going to be working in New York, we might as well be working in Spain. And I was like, oh, yes. And so that was, part of the evolution of it.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And that was fun.
I think, there's a lot of people out there who hear, and if they watch the program, they meet women who do what we do in terms of having a laptop lifestyle. The option to work from anywhere is very intriguing for a lot of people. And I will have to say, it is pretty freaking great to be able to, we were in France a few weeks ago, and, you want to see a replay of LDtvTalk, I was able to, to make that happen. So it is a great lifestyle, but it's still something that requires diligence, strategy, planning, and very careful about being clear on goals and how you need to get to those goals. So for you backed into it, I backed into it. But if I were advising anybody now, as I'm sure you go through this process, there's so much out there. There's so many of us competing for this digital space that it's not just a matter of thinking, oh, I've got a great idea and I'm going to have this laptop lifestyle. It is something that's probably the hardest thing you'll ever do in your life, is to create this successful entrepreneurial business. So how did that success come to you? So you stopped, you're now having this laptop lifestyle. I know things have changed, because right now it's, it's pretty hard to get the word out there. But how did you build your audience and your user base?
One thing I'll say is just, I totally agree with you. And part of what is so integral to no matter what industry no matter what niche you decide to be in, you have to work on your mindset. Like your mindset and your heart set and your spirit set, they all have to be set in the right place, right? You have to continually hone in on them and work on them and practice those things, because those are the things that'll pull you through when, you know, the button doesn't work. Like, you know, the stuff happens sometimes, right?
Yeah.
So, and I'm trying to get back to the question you asked. So how did I build my audience? Well, you know, I did it a few different ways. A lot of it is person to person. So no matter how wonderful digital space is, nothing can replace our human connection. Yeah. Right? And that's, we have it right now. This is sharing energy and human connection. Definitely. And I hosted a few women's networking events that really helped me get in front of more people. Mm-hmm. So most of what I did was online, and then I would have my event. Yeah, that got a bit of an audience, and then over time, you know, I keep saying over time, it's 10 years. Yeah. Over time. Yeah. You know, it has taken me longer than I would have imagined, but I wouldn't give it back, you know.
No, that's the thing. It does take, if you think, it's just like building a house or doing a reconstruction process. You think, oh, set aside a budget, this is going to be it. You pad it a little. It doesn't work that way. It just keeps escalating. So I think the time spent, it's a good analogy, because you think it's going to take a year. Well, it's not a year. You think it's going to take 2 years. It might not be 2 years. So you have to give yourself time. But I want to go back to what you said about the mindset, because it's so critical. You have to be committed to that mind. You have to be committed. There has to be that willingness to stick it out under any circumstances, or it's just not going to work, because you're going to hit those bumps.
Yes, they're there. They're part of the ride. They call it a roller coaster for a reason. So
absolutely.
Yeah, but you know, mindset, and also what I was saying about the human connection, having a support system of colleagues that speak your language when it comes to business, right? That you might call your bestie or your sister or your cousin that you love, who love you dearly, but they don't understand your situation. Yeah. So, you know, having a support system of those people who can pull you up and say, but we love you and you're wonderful and keep going. And then your colleagues who say, I went through that last week. We love you, keep going. You know?
Exactly.
So that's just as important. And the mindset is, it all comes together. I think that's the biggest piece here, that it all comes together.
I think so too. And for me, one of the things that I think is, because you and I both have this whole kind of positivity approach to everything. It's going to work out, you know. Yeah. It's definitely, you put that positive energy behind it. You visualize what you want. You use that energy to form that business. But another thing that I've found helpful is the fact that it's not only about thinking positively and, you know, having that mindset. It's also about actually physically taking the steps that you would take in the thing you're striving for. So it's actually doing, not just thinking. So in doing and in going through the process, it also helps solidify what you're doing. You cannot just sit back and think about, oh, I'm going to do this. And you have to jump in and put that physical energy into the project and do it as if you were doing it from a point of success already. So that's kind of a hard thing to do, but it's really a necessary thing to do.
Yeah, you have to take action.
Yeah.
You have to take action. My business model is based on, my business model is create, build, share. Everything I teach, everything I create, everything I do for myself, I created it out of my own need to have something, and that's how it became a thing, which is a lot of what happens in entrepreneurial world, right? You have something, you find a solution for what you need, and then you go and you're able to share that with other people. So create, build, share really talks about your entrepreneurial, you're creating your entrepreneurial mindset, your positivity, your spiritual, your heart, all of that. Your build, when it comes to building, you have to have the tools and the resources and the tangible pieces that actually show what you have in your heart. And then you have to share it. You have to do something. This is an amazing example of the share. You have to show up and interact with people in some way that feels comfortable to you. That could be a blog post, it could be an email, it could be a Facebook Live. So, you know, all the pieces come together. And one, it's like the back of the clock again. If one piece is missing, it doesn't run. So that's why, you know, we have to keep going. Where am I with my mindset? Okay, do I have that sales page done? Okay, is that sales page in line with what I really, really want to do in my heart, in my soul, for my passion? And then, okay, now we got all that in line and this piece is done, and how are we going to, there are people out there waiting for you. I'm speaking to anybody who's watching this. There are people who are waiting for you, and there's no one else on the planet who can give them what you have.
Right.
So
that's right.
Once you go through understanding what it is that you have and putting it in a way that's shareable, then you just got to get it out there.
Yeah. So, okay. So let's take an example, Patty. I love it. So there's probably people who are watching this who say, you know, I've been kind of thinking about doing something, but I really don't know where to start.
Mm-hmm.
What would the process be if they were to reach out to you and say, you know, I had this idea for a small business. Can you take me through what it would be like and what you think the process might be in terms of going from this concept to actually creating a website where I could sell, or where I could offer my services, or I could just blog? So how does that happen for somebody?
It's in the plan. It's in the plan. Like, planning and strategy is so integral, because there are so many, you know, we've heard the shiny object syndrome. There are so many choices
from it a very long time. It's finally gone away because I'm myself not to do anymore. But yeah, I suffer from it. And
yeah, it's not easy.
No. So somebody comes to you and they do a strategy session. Is that how it starts?
Yes, we'll do a strategy session, which really gets clear on the focus, but then also puts together the plan of here's what needs to be done. We back it out like you would do any other thing in life. You want to have an event. Well, the event has to be on this date. And what do we have to do to get to that event? So this is the same thing. And I like to work with my clients in phases, right? So, all right, the first thing, in order to achieve this goal that you're so excited about, the very first thing that we can do is this one piece. Maybe that's build a landing page and start collecting emails to, you know, communicate with your list. Maybe that's just building a Facebook group, like a small task. Maybe that's a starter website. So you have just what you need so that people can reach you on your website, 3 pages, 5 pages, not a lot, but in the background, while that's communicating with the world for you, you're building out the rest of it. So that could be your first phase, could be a 3-page website. And then we'll go into what do you need next? The next thing you're going to want to do is have a product in a funnel so that you can monetize, so that you can sell your digital products or your services, or so we'll work through. We're also individual, and one of the pieces I really hold so close to my heart is that I still work one-on-one with my clients, which I love. Oh, that's right, I forgot for a second. With you. Yeah, like when we'll jump on the phone, right? I mean, if you have something going on, you just sometimes need somebody to talk to who gets it and can answer the question. And if I can't answer the question, I can say, all right, this is where we can start to figure this out. Because I can't know everything. The digital world is blowing up around us.
I know.
And trying to stay on top of it is a full-time job. But I think it's so important to be able to so different modalities that I can communicate with my clients so that they feel supported. When I did this on my own, I had a lot of frustration because I didn't have resources. There were a lot less resources 10 years ago, right? So I didn't have the support of resources. I literally was figuring it out on my own. And I would never, it shouldn't take anybody 10 years, right? There's so much you can do if you get the right help.
Yeah.
You can do it efficiently, and quickly and on point. And that's the other thing. Then you have to stay focused. You come up with the goal, you make the plan, you have to stay focused and just check the things off the list.
Yeah. Do you find that, say you're in a strategy session and somebody is really passionate about something, but through that strategy session, you kind of unveil or discover that this idea probably won't work? How many times does that happen, and how far down in the process do you have to go to know if you have a viable idea or not?
I think that there are so many branches that if something's not working, the tweak can be minor and it can happen right away. So if you're not getting engagement in something that you did, let's just say you sent an email and you didn't get any engagement, nobody liked what you sent, or you got unsubscribes, well, who did you send the email to? Well, if you were working together, we would have figured that out first. But if this is just the kinds of things you have to think about, like is your target market really closely aligned? Are they looking for what you have to offer? Are you speaking to the right people? Did you sell them relevant info? That's the kind of stuff that you tweak it as you go.
Right. How many people come to you now with coaching services as their business versus selling products? Is it kind of 50-50, or are you seeing a real shift more towards services rather than products?
I work with service-based entrepreneurs. I work with, people like you and me who have services to offer, but need the digital component and want to be able to do that from wherever they are. Some of them want to stay put and they still need the infrastructure to help automate some of the processes, right? We can't do every single thing on our own. So the automation piece is a really big piece. I see more service-based. To answer the question directly, I see more service-based than product. There are a lot of women-owned business selling product, but they don't come to me.
Yeah, well, I have both. So that, for me, I'm an affiliate for 2 companies, but my service business is to help people be successful and to share that system and knowledge and tools on how you can, because the great thing about affiliate marketing is the fact that right away, you can have a business that you can work from anywhere. So
yes,
the beauty, and that's something that people nowadays, that's what they want. They want that ability to have that virtual business, that laptop lifestyle. So, but that necessarily doesn't mean they're going to be successful at that. There's a way to work at that is. So that's why I combine the business and the services, and like doing that so much, because that allows me to share the skills I have to help people be successful in selling that laptop lifestyle. So that's how that's coming. You've helped me such a great deal to build that website that helps do that through content and through outreach and through all those tools that we've been able to assimilate. So thanks for that.
Well, I love working with you. So I love your website. I think it really represents so much of what you're doing. It's really, really great. However, just to go back to the idea of the products versus services, when you asked me that question, I was thinking of women who, I keep saying women, entrepreneurs who are creating products. So there's a little bit of a difference if you're aligning yourself with a company who already does the manufacturing.
Yes.
So I was thinking more of people who are making their own products.
Right.
So in that way, network marketing is a bit of a service, because you're aligning yourself to help people get A, the business line of it.
Yes.
And B, the product side of it, to be able to use the products.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just a unique thing. Most people that I know have, but I think it's something that is going to grow as the web continues to be so large, as the world becomes smaller, as companies do global expansion, as you have the opportunity really to have the incredible resources that a lot of those companies are able to provide too. So I think that will continue to expand. And it is harder and harder to create your own products. You know, a few weeks ago, we had Toby Terry on, and Toby is, you know, she has an amazing resume. She's, you know, she has her own spa and salon. She's, you know, she is the VP of Achieve, which helps salon owners and stylists grow their businesses. She's a business coach, but she's also the creator and developer of her own skincare line. And that is not a simple task.
No.
And so we talked to her about how she got the idea, how it came to be, how she does her distribution. So that's a little bit more difficult, but then we've also had on some coaches. Desiree Marie Lito is a coach. Paula Jennings is a coach. Casey Rogers, who I've interviewed, is a coach. They all have respective talents that they've put to use in terms of helping people in specific areas. You know, Desiree on rejection, and Casey on nutrition, and, you know, she's also an accountability coach. So I wanted to talk about that a little bit. When you're in the process of helping somebody develop a website, and you require them to give you information to put that together, sometimes to stay on deadline, they need to have an accountability partner. They need to have somebody help them through the process. Have you found that the people that you work with who do have accountability partners the process goes a lot easier for you? Or are you their accountability partner in some regard?
Wait, excuse me, I have to put on that hat.
Exactly.
I'm wearing your hat now on the accountability. Yes, absolutely. Oh my God. It's so such a big piece of it. I created a course that is on my Teachable school, Create, Build, Share on Teachable. It's a free course, and it's a website planner. It literally walks you through every single step of planning your website. That's part of holding you accountable, right? Because you want to finish, you want to get to the next step, you want the plan. Yeah. I developed that because it was hard. It happens to be a thing in web design industry, right? Getting content from the clients can be a challenge. So I created it to help my clients help me so that we could finish the project.
Sure.
Because if you don't work together to get that information, the project doesn't get finished and no one's happy.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
So absolutely. I work with my clients closely on that because it's the means to the end result that both parties want.
Yeah. So we will put that link to Patty's Teachable course on LDtvTalk Scoop. So if anybody's really thinking about that, they'll be able to go and they're going to be able to click on that and see that. So I love the backstory, but we've got to get to what you're doing now because it's so exciting. So why don't you tell those people who are on here and who are going to watch the replay what you're doing now and how it really kind of synthesizes where websites have been and where this whole digital experience is going. So your whole kind of business in a box, Patty. Let's talk about it.
Okay, let's talk about it. It's that pulling everything together piece. One of the things that I've been highly focused on this year has been setting up people with automated processes. So the things that we can do to, it's not like we're going to be able to lie in bed and sleep all day while everything does what it needs to do. But there are tasks that can be automated so that you don't have to do those things every single day. One of the things
I'm going to stop you right here and tell people that Patty has been a lifesaver in that regard for me, because I have a lot of parts that are going on together, and she was able to help me find sources where I can delegate and it's automated. So as she said, you still have to do the work. I still have to wake up and I still have to get in touch with the people who I am using to automate and tell them exactly what I need done. But once I get that part done, that's off my plate. So go on. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I just had to have a shout out to you for allowing that to happen.
I'm so glad that it's working well. And yeah, you know, we need help with things. So automation is one thing. Email marketing is a really big deal. I teach email marketing, help my clients set up their emails so that they're in automated fashion. And we'll bulk. I like to batch write, and I teach about bulk settings so that everything is for a project is done at one time and pre-scheduled so that you can move on to the next exciting thing. If you spend too much time on one project, it gets boring. You lose your enthusiasm for it. You kind of get bored. And so putting it all in place so that it can do its thing for you, right? Whether that's getting leads, sending emails, setting up your calendar so that people can make appointments with you. So you don't have to go back and forth in the email, back and forth.
Great.
I have a brand new, this is the first time today we're talking about it. It's a brand new guide called Kickstarter Automation that we can share that link in LDtvTalk Scoop. And that's a free guide right now. So it's my top 5 favorite tools for automating your business, leveraging your time and boosting success, because when you automate and you leverage, you can then focus on more of the monetization and the sales and the parts of it that you need to put in place and have done.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that it's coming out early 2020, and I'm starting beta next month. So I'm super excited for my new lucrative laptops membership. And
tell us about that.
Oh, I'm so excited. So it's going to be monthly trainings live with me. We're going to have video training. So a lot of these things, you can do them. You don't need to hire somebody else to do something, but you just need to see how. So I'll have video trainings, things like that. And one of the levels of that will have access to my team, who has been, really, it takes a while to find the right people to work with. And I have been able to do that. I've been outsourcing for 7 or 8 years now. So I got a really good handle on how to interview, how to vet, how to source. And so I don't want you to have to go through 7 or 8 years. I'm going to give you access to my team for certain time blocks. So lucrative laptops is everything we talked about in that whole create, build, share model, right? Like the mindset, the trainings, the connection with other women. It's all in this one nice, neat box with a bow. And that's coming out. So I'm starting my beta next month, and that'll be for my very, very limited charter members while I'm getting the process in place. And then 2020, that'll have a big push. But for now, it's the automation guide and the lucrative laptops membership.
That's great. So let me ask you this. If somebody wants to start something that is, it has all those components that lucrative laptops has for you, can they then create their own lucrative laptops kind of situation where they're doing the same kind of thing?
Right, like a business in a box.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. That will be part of it. So you can come in as a I'm going to say student, right? But as a member where you're consuming information and learning and growing and collaborating. You can also come in and utilize pieces or learn how to utilize those business aspects so that you can build your own. That comes back to what I said earlier. Like when we learn how to do something and we create a solution for what we want, we are then able to pass it on to other people. And I think that's, part of how things roll. That's just how we roll.
No, I think that's so true. I think it's kind of the missing piece on what so many people are doing today, because what I see from my side of the aisle is the fact that, I see a lot of people utilizing Facebook as a forum to talk about their coaching programs, but there's still there. I think that it's just kind of one component. Having that kind of a full circle process where you've got your website, you've got a community, and you know how to then put your services on that wheel. Mm-hmm. Have somebody who's been there and done that and done it successfully is a very powerful thing.
Yes. Yeah. And to not have to go down the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Rabbit hole, right? Yeah. Like, I've already been down that rabbit hole. I know it's important, and I'm going to give you exactly what you don't bother.
Yeah, exactly. Stay out of the freaking rabbit hole.
Yo, those rabbit holes, those shiny object syndromes, they're real. They're real. And part of what I know you do, Lynn, and what I do is alleviate these stresses and frustrations for other people.
Yeah, that's the whole idea. If you can benefit by having somebody who's done it and who knows the drill and who can keep you on track, that's basically what you really want to do, rather than, you know, I can tell you, I have, well, how many websites do I have? I have like 3. And, you know, 2 of them were built a while ago, and then we built side. No, I know, but the processes were so different. You know, I had one website where I couldn't communicate any other way but email, you know, and that was extraordinarily frustrating for me, not to be able to have a conversation with somebody about the website and just be limited to doing it on email. Now, luckily, it turned out great because it's really visually driven. So it wasn't, you know, once I had the content that I wanted, it wasn't that bad, but that was really hard. And then I had another experience where I was working remotely with someone on doing the website who was accessible, and that was great. But it still doesn't beat having somebody, you know, that you can interface closely with, which we had when we built Side Hustle Warriors. So very thankful for that. So as a digital strategist, what do you see as really something that is on the horizon now, but in a year is going to be what everybody is using? Funnels? Is it video? Is it editing? Is it all these softwares that are available? Is there something that really stands out as something you could say, be on the lookout for this, guys, if you've got your own website? Or
I think we're going through a phase of things becoming more and more attainable to the everyday user. So even websites, right? There are many platforms. I'm a WordPress specialist, and all of our work I do is on WordPress, but there are many ways that someone can get a website on their own, right? So there's just so many different things, and I think that we're just going to see more and more of that, because this is it. This is today. Communicating this way is the way we live life. It's the way business is run. So people are finding solutions to make it more accessible to everybody. I think that's the biggest thing, is that we're seeing more and more and more of that through apps, through things like the recording like the Be Live. I love Be Live. That's a really great one, you know, and it gives you the ability to do stuff that just a few years ago, like I'm saying, maybe a couple of 3 years ago, I was piecemealing pieces together to do what this one software now does.
Yeah. I can remember watching a webinar by a woman named Emmy Wu, who is a video editor and has a video course that you can take. She did an online webinar about using video. And this goes back. I mean, this goes back maybe a couple of years. And that was the first time I even heard of Be Live. And the way they've changed the platform since she originally talked about it is like night and day. It really is an amazing platform. And that's what we're using here, guys. We're not affiliates for Be Live, but we're big advocates for Be Live, because it is a very, very easy way to broadcast live from your Facebook page. So love Be Live. So yeah.
Yes, it's a great software, but this is just one of the examples of how companies are creating more accessible and user-friendly ways to have businesses on the web and to communicate on the web. Yeah.
And I think that was a really important word that you said, Patty, user-friendly. I think there's still so much fear from a lot of people, especially people who come from the corporate world, who find themselves in a situation where they want to have their own business and they're terrified of, tech, and they're tech averse. And it's like, these things now, they're pretty easy. Now, there are things that are more difficult. Like, I find the email templates a little challenging. So I'm happy to delegate that out. But for somebody who knows how to do it, you can get it done in 5 minutes.
And the beauty of something like that is that somebody has the template done, and once it's done, you can use it over and over and over.
Yeah.
You don't need a new template for every email. You have a template because it's a template, right? So then it becomes easy.
Yeah. No, I absolutely love that. So I think that's great. And there are things and most things nowadays are mobile friendly. So that's, before we get on to the lightning round, I just want to talk about your thoughts about computers and iPads versus iPhones or smartphones. Do you think a lot of the business is being done on the phone, or are you seeing kind of a mix of computer and phone?
Well, I mean, as far as the way we live life, how far did I have to go to get my phone? It's right here. We're all using so many devices. Yeah, exactly. A phone, the iPad's not far. But as far as design and functionality, gosh, it's 70-80% of people are doing looking at websites on mobile. It's high. The numbers are high. People are answering their emails on mobile. People are texting. People are communicating on mobile. So in the design, in the website world, mobile first is the newest design, the newest design approach. Mobile first, because you have a desktop, so your website's on the desktop, and then you open that website on an iPad. So everything responsive. It's called responsive, right? It used to be your website was static. Now it's responsive and it's smart. So it knows that if it's on this screen and you open an iPad, then it just rearranges the content to fit on a smaller screen. But now people are, the shift is that they're first designing it to fit here and then pulling it out.
I'm assuming that's how lucrative laptops is going to be created.
Oh, good one. Yeah. Well, lucrative laptops is going to be a membership program with many components.
Right.
So, but I will have to put move up the app for it on my list of dreams, goals, and to-dos.
Yeah. Oh my God, absolutely. But somebody will be able to come on and build a mobile-friendly website, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, I mean, I do them already. So I'll build a website, and then, for every page, every section I create, I have to then test it in a tablet form and test it in a mobile form, and I have to resize. Like that title's too big for a phone, I have to resize that for phone, for mobile, for tablet. So, what happened was web designers ended up needing to do a website 3 times, 3 different components.
Right. That's why they were so costly.
Yeah. It's not just one simple thing anymore. There's a lot to it. And responsive is supposed to be responsive because the technology is smart, but it doesn't always work 100%. You have to tweak things. Yeah.
Good. So much to think about.
It's a lot, right?
It's a lot.
It's a lot, but it's exciting.
Oh, it's so exciting. It's a fantastic thing. if you've got somebody like Patty, who I'm lucky enough to have, and I can check in with her and she can tell me, she gets me on course. And I think that's the number one thing I would say that's so important, is that she could say, okay, this is what you're going to do. This is the big picture. This is how you're going to get here. We're taking these steps. You put this on the back burner.
Yeah, that back burner is in phase 2, or that back burner is in phase 3, and maybe your phases are in 3 months, right?
Yeah. So it's all, as Patty said, it's all in the plan. And that is the most important thing. So we're going to get to our lightning round now.
Oh,
I love this.
Okay.
So
I'm a little scared.
No, it's a series of questions. We're just going to get to the nitty gritty of Patty.
Okay.
So, a person that inspired you or inspires you, and why?
Yeah. I have to say my dad. My dad, he passed away, 30 years ago. And but he was an entrepreneur. He was a small business owner. He owned a service station, a gas station, and he sold used cars out of his shop. But he started by sweeping the floor. He learned. He offered to help. He said, I'll sweep the floors. Can you teach me? And eventually he purchased that shop from the owner, and he owned it for 32 years before he got sick. So, he's always been an inspiration to me, and he always will be. Yeah. My dad.
Good. Risk takers. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah.
The best business advice you ever received?
Ooh. It was the best business advice at the time. So I just want to preface with that. But it was sometimes, I'm going to preface sometimes because I was young then, but sometimes the experience is worth more than the money. I had a job that was paying me very, very little, and I was kind of complaining about it. And actually, that was my dad too. Just happens to be, and it was a dance studio. It was a chain dance studio. But after 2 years, I went out on my own. And I did that for 30 years, where once I went out on my own, I didn't take their clients. I just went out on my own, and I went from making a couple of dollars an hour to like 10 times more an hour, because I taught a class at a local church and I put a price on it and they said yes. So that was really good advice. Stick with it for a little while. Sometimes the experience is worth more than the money.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
The best personal or overall advice you ever received?
Breathe. Breathe.
Somebody else said that. That's really good. I love that.
Yeah.
People don't realize, and that means, we are the breath. That's Paul said that. It's so important.
Yeah.
So, what is an app that you cannot live without?
Ooh, I have so many of them.
You gotta prioritize. If you're only
okay.
or what's one that you think people out there watching would really benefit from having?
Can I look at my phone? My favorite, I'll tell you right now, because it'll be on the front screen.
Something you think people might not know.
You know what? I'll tell you one. This one is really fun, and people may not know it. It's called Marco Polo.
Oh my God!
You just started using it, right?
That Toby was the one who turned me on to Marco Polo, and it's like, how great is Marco Polo?
Oh, it's so much fun, and it's basically texting, only video style.
Yes.
So you talk into your phone, it's a video of you, and you're basically leaving a video message for the other person. However, the other person that's on that thread, just like you can have a text thread with one or more people, it's the same concept. The other person can actually watch you leaving that video live.
Yeah.
So they can respond to you immediately. Or if they're not there, they can watch the recording. It's so much fun.
I agree. I think it's great. And the reason I love it is a lot of times if you want to do a FaceTime call or something, you're going to call somebody, they're not going to be available. But it's nice that you could leave a video.
Yeah.
Or you show them something. Or you know, it's the audio just doesn't work. So Marco Polo, yes.
And it's free.
Yes.
And they know all those videos are stored on the Marco Polo server, not on your phone.
Right. So
that's a big deal.
It's a
totally
big deal. I'm sure they have advertising as their model, and we're going to start seeing advertising on Marco Polo. That's okay for now. Great. A person or account our viewers should follow on social media, and why?
You know how on your Facebook you can star people to show up on your feed, like you can control who you see on your feed.
Yeah.
One of the people I have on my feed is Ellen. You know, she has
really?
and the Ellen Tube. I have to say, I laugh a lot. It's a really really great release thing.
That's great. Laughing is so important.
Yeah, she's funny. She makes me laugh, and I think she's a good person, and she does good in the world. So I like watching Ellen.
I you know, a lot of people really gave her a hard time for sitting next to being nice to George Bush, but it would be so not Ellen to not be nice to him. So give her a break.
Yeah. I mean, I like her. I think she's a good person. And I don't.
She loves animals. So
I don't do that stuff.
No, I think you can really. So anyway, charity that people may not be aware of that is doing great things. That may be a pet charity of yours. They lose you? No, you're there.
No, I'm thinking of you know, I was just talking with someone recently about helping locally with the food for the homeless. And so while I don't have the name of one at the top of my mind, it's just that concept, like helping people
neighborhood
homeless. Like really right now, it's just it's like I can't walk down the street without like my heart like just does a little turn, and it's breaks. A little piece breaks off every time I pass a person on the street, and then I don't have the resources. That I want to help you, and so that to me is something that I'm looking more into, and that I think is a really great thing to spend some time on.
We can put that on there. You know,
love. Yeah, we can add that.
Yeah, and then a book, a lecture, an event, or a situation that made a difference in your life.
Ooh. A book, an adventure.
Yeah, it could be a book. It could be an event. Could have been a situation. Something that really spurred action. You know, some people watch a TED Talk and they're inspired to do something, or maybe it's a book you read, or maybe it was a teacher who inspired you.
I read a book a long time ago that still sits with me.
Okay.
Called The Magic of Thinking Big. Okay. And I
put that on Scoop.
I loved how it opened up my mind to believing in the dreams I had within me. And I mean, that was decades ago that I read that book.
Right.
But it still sits with me. It was such a wonderful book. I should reread it. I don't know how it applies. Sometimes another one that I found so amazing, changed my life, was Tony Robbins programs. I mean, I quit smoking almost 30 years ago. I started my entire dance business after a Tony Robbins event weekend.
Oh, really? You went?
Yeah, this was before they were big. It was a few hundred people. And a friend of mine had extra tickets. She's like, oh, I'm not going to go. Do you want to go? And it was in New Jersey, and I live in New York. And I was like, all right, I'll go. I don't know what this thing is. And I broke a board like I did. I broke a board with my hand. I still have that board. And I left that weekend, and I started my dance business full time.
That is amazing. My friend Lindy, who will be on the show,
yeah,
she won last year. And same thing. Friend had the tickets. She went out in New Jersey. And, I think that, Tony Robbins has a very aggressive style. He's always had an aggressive style. Mm-hmm. But, you may like him. You may not like him. But I find many people who say they've been to his courses and it works. So
you know what happened too, just to pull this into what we spoke about earlier, when I came back and I set that goal, I was working a full-time job. I was working in the medical field, in offices. So I kept a little notebook, and every single time I did every single thing I could for 1 year to build money so that I could teach dance. And I was doing everything from babysitting to staying overnight in elderly people's homes so they weren't alone. Like my mom had a care business. So I did everything. And by the end of the year, my goal was to match my salary, and I exceeded it just because I did what I had to do so that I could make my dream happen.
That's great.
Yeah. And that, that comes together. It's all the stuff. You've got to focus in and make a plan, and then take it one day at a time. That was like $5 at a time in that notebook.
Yeah. No, it's amazing. And I think that, it's going to an event like that, and it's getting pounded, and it's kind of facing your worst fears. And it's like, you're going to do this or you're not. And
yeah,
some people are never going to do it, but the ones who really want it are going to do it, and they're going to be successful at it. So anyway,
yep,
Patty, I'm going to let you go. Thank you so much. I'm going to expect links from you.
Absolutely.
The magic of thinking big, for the, for the other things you talked about, for your Kickstarter automation, to get in the queue for your lucrative laptops.
Yes.
And anything that you want to offer to the people who've come on here, just free, which would be awesome. And thank you so much for being here. And I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you for having me. It was so much fun.
It was great.
Okay. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
It was great having Patty. She does a beautiful job on the websites, guys. You have to check her out. Have to check out my website. Also, if you want to win one of our Good Living is Glam smudge sticks, and I also have a surprise this week, another great piece of swag that I'm offering. It's in the beauty area. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but text "Tell Me" #talk to 866-320-6011 to enter to win, or just put your name in the comments and send me a little note, enter to win with, a smiley face emoji. We'll enter you to win, which will be great. Next week, I am going to be talking to one of the Forbes 30 under 30, Jennifer Rose Goldman, who created her own business line, beauty line, Essential Rose Life. She has an amazing story. She will share it with you. She's had some emotional challenges. She's overcome them, and her business is on fire, and you will love watching her. So before I go, as you know, I always fan things. I'm fanning this, and I'm not showing you what it is, because this is a new product from one of the companies I affiliate for. And if you want to know more about something that is revolutionary in the beauty industry, patented, I can tell you I'm definitely fanning this. Just put it in the comments. Say you want to know more, and I will give you a link to some information, and then we can get on a call if you want to know more. So anyway, that's it for today. Thank you for being on. It's so appreciated. We love your support. And remember to come on over to LDTV Talk Scoop for all the links, and tell your friends. And we're going to replay tonight at 8 o'clock. So thank you again, and we'll see you next week.